Okay, we are back in business. You gotta love technology. Mute that. All right, so I decided to go live today after talking with a few people about different things that are going on. Obviously, coming through this holiday season, we're in a place where everybody's still eating leftovers, everybody's still having a good time, probably traveling, heading back home, things of that nature. But why should your path and your purpose be something that's left over in 2025 as we go into 2026? You ever sit and wonder why you were put on earth? Not in some dramatic way, but in a real way. Like, why are you here? Were you meant to be going to that job and sitting down doing that thing? Were you meant to open that business just because it's making you money? What were you meant to do? What did God place inside of you that the world actually needs? Because so many of us move through life carrying the weight of grief, financial pressure, stress from work, business ups and downs, and this quiet fear that maybe, just maybe, we're missing the whole point. Here's the truth that a lot of people don't focus on. Most of us never slow down long enough to hear ourselves think. We get so busy with timelines and productivity, we have to do all this stuff to make it all work. Um, but you can get caught up in that and get lost in that. So I want you guys to really pause and just ask yourselves, who am I really? What do I bring to the world? Why do I feel stuck or lost or out of alignment? What can I do? Why can I do everything right and still feel like something is missing? I know that feeling oh too well. I lived inside of that feeling for too long. Years I avoided it. Years. Um, Speaking of which, my computer is dying. But I'm gonna get my charger right quick. I'm gonna keep talking to y'all though. So it's January 2023. I'm uh I'm working my job, doing my thing, and I realized like I don't really like this job. It wasn't anything wrong with the job or the people I work with or anything. It's because I just felt like I should be doing something else. I felt like there was a bigger, better path for me. I felt like something was missing. If you felt like that before, just put it in the comment and let me know. Just say, hey, I'm with you, Rod. Been there, done that. Because I definitely was one of those people. For those of you just joining this live or catching a replay, my computer is dying. I should have anticipated that, but I did not. Needless to say, I'm back. But yeah, so it's January 2023, and I specifically remember thinking to myself, I'm making money, but I'm not quite where I want to be. I don't have fulfillment. I don't have the peace that I once had or desired. And I'll never forget, I was feeling kind of burnt out, decided to take a day of PTO, and I hung out on my back patio, and all I did the entire day was work my business. I was helping customers out with their websites, helping with their logos, constructing their brand, and I felt like, man, this is it. This is what it should feel like. I should feel like this every day. What can I do to reproduce this feeling? And God was basically like, hey, if this is what you want to do, this lines up with my will for your life. I can help you do it, but you're going to have to leave that job. And I was like, oh, okay. Wasn't really expecting that. I'm going to have to get back to you on that, guy, because I don't really want to leave this job. This is a comfortable position for me financially. And I said, look, if you can make it where my finances can be covered, because my wife wasn't working at the time, it was just me covering all the bills. I said, I'll leave this job in a heartbeat. He said, okay. By December that year, which I had put a mark. I put God to the test. I said, hey, if I can make $100,000 in my business part-time, then I'll leave. I said by December. That was the timeline I gave him. It was actually by November. November 2023, I not only hit that mark, I superseded it. So I was at 130K by November 2023, part-time in my business. And guess who still didn't move? I literally avoided my calling. Literally. It wasn't until February 2026, February 6th, 2026, 10 days to the date after I started my business, that I got laid off from my job and was forced into the option of doing my business full time. Literally. Now, I said forced into the option because I still could have chosen to go back to corporate, but I decided to pursue my own entrepreneur endeavors. Finding my own path required identity work, though. I didn't know who I was. My identity was tied into my job. I had to do deep work. I had to do honest work. I had to connect with people who were smarter than me. And it literally changed everything about how I showed up as a husband, as a father, as a business owner, as a man, as a friend, as a brother, right? The clarity that I now operate in every day of my life is exactly why I decided to go live today. Because I want to introduce you to an immersive cohort that I'm putting together called Find Your Path. If you're interested in finding your path the same way I found mine, comment the word growth or visit the website. It should be in the description. If not, I'll make sure it's there. And join us. It's $27, and it's not just watching, recorded videos. No, we're going to meet every Wednesday to remove limiting beliefs and implant the more positive thoughts that you should have. And then we'll meet every Sunday to recap the videos that we watched on a scheduled release throughout the week. 3 weeks worth of information that's going to help you. Now, let me tell you why you might need this, even if you think you do not. Some of you are grieving and trying to get your footing back. Some of you are overwhelmed by bills and responsibilities, and you feel like you don't have permission to really dream. You don't have the time. I hear that too often. If you're one of those people that feel like you don't have the time, put it in the comments. Just put time in the comments. I need to know who I'm speaking with. Some of you are trapped in corporate routines that drain your spirit. Ask me how I know. And look, this is not just about building a bridge to entrepreneurship. This is about being who you need to be, even if you choose to stay in the office. This is about being who you need to be if you're a leader, managing other people. It doesn't matter what your walk of life is. Even if you're a business owner, some of you are entrepreneurs who are building businesses with no identity behind them. And then you're wondering why you're not getting the conversions that you truly desire. Some of you are simply tired of feeling unseen, unheard, or unsure. Even those of you who have success and feel like you don't need clarity, that's exactly why you need this. The hardest person to convince that they need clarity are the ones who have already achieved certain levels of success. But the very thing that has given you what you have today is the very thing that's blinding you from what you could have tomorrow. This cohort will help you with all of that because it goes to the root. Like, we're diving deep. This is not a sales tactic. This is not a trend, right? This is no surface level fixes. Your brand identity is the root of everything you will do. And I'm not talking about color palettes and professional logos and your social media bio and how you should. No. When you know who you are, you make decisions differently. You speak differently. You show up differently. You stop pretending. You stop apologizing for being who you are. You stop second guessing yourself. Your faith gets stronger. Your confidence stabilizes. Your purpose becomes real. All right? So here are 7 quick reasons why you should join. Stay with me. These are going to be quick. All right? 7 reasons why you should join this cohort. Number 1, clarity does not come from thinking harder. It comes from guided direction, guided reflection. They say that you can get somewhere fast by yourself, but in order to go further, you have to go with someone. I can't tell you where I would be if I didn't have guided direction and reflection from different people that I trust in my life over the years. But I know I wouldn't be as far as I am. Let's just put it that way. Here's number 2 reason. This is not a self-led course. This is not me just giving you videos and letting you sit back, watch them on your own time and you not paying attention. No, this is interactive and supported. We're going to be walking alongside you the entire time. And it's only 3 weeks for $27. I don't think you can beat that. So come into Work Growth if you're interested in this. No, Kelly, I see your comment. This is not about joining the community. I'm doing a separate cohort. It's going to be self-led, but also interactive, where we're walking through and going through this course that I put together called Find Your Path. It's for anybody that's looking to figure out what they really should be doing in life, and they need some guided direction on that. Even if you feel like you're on the right path, there's a certain way that you can dive in a little bit deeper and get the clarity and the confidence necessary to keep going down the path even when things get a little blurry. Speaking of which, I'm gonna take a quick detour since I got that comment. You know, when somebody's building a skyscraper, the first thing they have to do is lay the foundation. And I don't know if you know it, but if it's a 72-story building, that foundation is not on the surface. They had to dig deep. They had to go into layers of sand and bedrock and cut through the earth to lay the foundational elements necessary for this building to be erected. Now, could they do it without going super deep? Absolutely. But what they found over time is that those wind gusts and things that happen when you're that high in the sky would literally crumble the building. So you have to go just as deep as you're going high. Now, what does that mean? If you're building a ranch home, you obviously don't have to dig 200 feet into the sand and the bedrock. But most of us want a skyscraper type business, a skyscraper type career or relationship, because it ties to everything. It's not just making money, right? This is about you and how you can build you up to be the best version of you, not changing who you are, illuminating who you are so that you can correct the behaviors and habits that you shouldn't have, and that you can stand behind the uniqueness that you have that was God given. All right, so I'm off of that point. If you got other questions, put them in the chat. Here's the third reason why you should join this interactive cohort. You've been running on autopilot for too long. You got your routine, you're making money in a certain way, and you're just running with that. And that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. However, when you get to a certain height and you put it on autopilot and you take a nap or you go back to the back because things are cool, there's no growth happening at that point. You're at 10,000 feet, you're floating, there's no turbulence, and you're good. But what happens when there is turbulence? What happens when there's a storm on the horizon? You got to ascend. You got to go around that thing. How can you do that if you're on autopilot? So don't get so caught up in what you've already achieved that you miss out on a direction that you should be focused on so you can achieve more. Here's reason number 4. Your next year, 2026, will be a repeat of 2025 unless you interrupt the pattern. That's right. You continue to do things how you've always done them, you're going to get the same results that you've always gotten. And does that mean everything is going to work out perfectly? No. That just means you have to try something different in order to get different results. So this is just one way you can do that. Number 5, your individual story is powerful, but you've never been taught how to use it. I remember going to my son's football game. I decided to retire from coaching because, he had got to an age where I couldn't really coach him the way I used to. It's that blend between father and coach that just wasn't clear. So he would get overreactive and start crying if I fussed at him or something. And I'm like, When the other coach fussed at him, it doesn't have that kind of reaction. Well, it's because I'm his dad. And so I just decided to be a in the stands parent. So, I'm cheering the kids on, doing that thing. My business was growing uncontrollably though. And it got to a point where I found myself working 7 days a week, putting in 12, 16 hours, waking up at 5 a.m., working into my full-time job, started at 8 a.m., getting off work at 5, starting my business again from 5 to 9, right? It was just constant. But here I was sitting at a football game in the rain, under my umbrella with my computer out typing. And I never looked up to watch the game. Like every time somebody would cheer or something crazy would happen, I'm looking up like, what? Who go, team? I didn't know what was going on. And after the game, he's like, Dad, did you see when I did XYZ? And I'm contemplating the whole time. I'm like, do I tell him the truth? Do I lie? Because I didn't see it because I was too busy focused on my customers. And that's when I realized, like, I got to do something different because I want to be there for my kids. I want to be able to watch their games and enjoy it without feeling like I have to be under an umbrella keeping my computer dry while I'm working. Now, what does that story have to do with this cohort? I just showed you what it looks like to be able to use your story as a part of what you're doing. You have to be taught how to do that. People don't connect to all your, you can have all the fancy copy and stuff, all the best flyers and websites, but they're not connecting to that. They're trying to connect to you. If they can't connect to you through your story, then you're gonna be lost. It's only so much you can do. It's only so far you can go without your story. So this is gonna help you guys to learn how to use your story in a way that connects you to your audience. Or if you work in corporate, how it connects you to your customers, your book of business, your managers, your leaders. All right. Number 6, we got 2 more. Growth is faster with guidance than it is alone. We kind of hit on this earlier, but I want to hone in on this just because you guys have to understand it's not just about you connecting with me, it's about you connecting with other people, seeing their walk, understanding what they're going through. You might have something they need. They may have something you need. But during this immersive cohort, we're going to work on that together. We're going to dig deep and find out what is it in you that you need to remove in order to get where you're trying to go. And what is it that's not in you that we can begin to build on top of so that you can understand how to be the best version of yourself, how to tap into what makes you unique. All right, number 7. Even if you are successful, you still need a roadmap for your next level. And I promise you, it ain't gonna come from ChatGPT. You need to work with somebody who can see the things that you cannot see. In this 7-module cohort, we will do all of that together. Okay? So here's what it includes. It includes 2 short on-demand videos each week. They'll be released on Monday. Then we'll have a midweek call on Wednesday where we will break limiting beliefs and clear the mental noise. And then Thursday will be the second release. Okay, and then on Sunday at 3 p.m., we'll get on a quick call. We'll recap, reflect, and make sense of what God is trying to show you. You'll learn, you'll breathe, you'll process, you'll let things go, you'll grow. Okay, like I said, this is not self-led. This is not overwhelming. Okay, it's not another course that you will never finish. It's not my focus. That's why I'm walking you through it. I consider this a hybrid course where we'll do it live, but you'll also have time to let it absorb and marinate and study it on your own. So, like I said, this is guided clarity. This is identity alignment. This is the transformation that you need in real time. So if you're interested, click on the link, comment the word growth. But I want to leave you with this thing right quick. Imagine knowing what you were created for. Imagine showing up as the real you. Imagine not pretending anymore. Imagine walking into 2026 grounded, confident, and aligned. Imagine being able to hear God more clearly because you chose to sign up for this immersive cohort. I invite you to work with me directly over the next 3 weeks. That is what Find Your Path is all about. Now, if you felt that and something inside of you said, man, I wonder about this. I think this is for me. then trust that. Okay, come into Word Growth, and I will send you everything you need to join us. We start on Sunday at 3 p.m. That's November 30th. And I would love to walk with you. All right, let's find your path together. Peace.